Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 9th episode of the story, where things go wrong during the last Sasuke retrieval mission, and Naruto is blamed. Tired of everything being his fault, he creates a new way of thinking that contradicts every belief he once held. The issue is that not everyone appears to be thrilled with the change. To show your support, like and subscribe. Let's get this show going. After the success of Sasuke's retrieval by Kakashi, Yamato, and Naruto, all three decided to reach Konoha as fast as possible. They weren't sure if Orochimaru already knew of the results, but handing Sasuke to Ibiki was top priority right now. While Kakashi jumped, he looked at Naruto, whose face remained stoic, showing the copycat that although Naruto managed to bring back Sasuke, the blonde just couldn't care less. Because of his Sharingan, he managed to watch the whole fight, and upon seeing Naruto's Kenjutsu style, Kakashi was truly amazed by it. Using Futon Chakra in order to propel his body, improve the blonde's agility tenfold, and with Aoi and Rikimaru's teachings, Naruto's attacks were both deadly and precise. Another aspect of the fight was how much different Sasuke was from the usually stoic Jonin he knew, which enforced the theory that the cursed seal ended up influencing the user's mind, thus making him an unstable person. He applauded the blonde, though, for not only disabling the Uchiha's pathetic excuse for taunting, but also managed to use some of it against Sasuke's so-called pride. One last thing about the fight was how much Naruto's Jujutsu affected Sasuke, seeing that Sasuke was already affected by Itachi's main Jinkaiyu Sharingan. That being said, Naruto's eyes could very well be an asset against either Akatsuki or against Orochimaru. Inotogaku are still oblivious to the loss of Sasuke by Naruto. Orochimaru was found smiling while sitting on his chair. In front of him was a worried Kabuto. "Orochimaru-sama, do you think it was wise to send Sasuke alone to Konoha?" asked Kabuto, to which Orochimaru did his favorite laugh and nodded. "Sasuke-kun cannot be defeated, Kabuto. Also, he will manage to kill the Kyuubi brat once and for all. Trust me, Uzumaki Naruto will fall and he won't ruin my plans any longer. I can tell you, though, that he was very beneficial in taunting Sasuke." Kukuku. Just the sheer mention of the blonde's name and Sasuke was willing to do pretty much anything that revolved around surpassing him, laughed Orochimaru, thus making Kabuto laugh as well. Sasuke, up to today, was able to beat everything both Orochimaru and Kabuto threw against him, and surely Naruto wouldn't be able to land a hit on him. However, Kabuto wasn't considered Orochimaru's second-in-command for nothing, and he was suspicious that maybe Naruto didn't face Sasuke alone. Kabuto knew that the blonde would be stupid enough to charge Sasuke alone. However, if someone like Hatake Kakashi managed to confront Sasuke as well, Kabuto wasn't sure if the Uchiha would be able to beat a shinobi of Kakashi's caliber. Being that said, Kabuto thought best of sending someone to see what's happening. It wouldn't do them good to lose Orochimaru's next vessel because of underestimation of Naruto's capabilities. In Konoha. Upon arrival in Konoha, the group went straight to the Hokage's office where they would give the report. Naruto gave the idea of traveling through the rooftops in order to avoid rumors being spread before time, to which the group nodded and jumped towards the roofs. Imagine what would happen if a fool or two of the council that favored Sasuke, even if he betrayed the village, knew that he returned. It was safe to say that Sasuke's punishment would be strongly diminished, all in favor of his lineage. Still avoiding the rumor spreading, Yamato remained with Sasuke's body on top of a rooftop hidden by a genjutsu, while Naruto and Kakashi went to the Hokage's room to report and call an Anbu team to arrest the Uchiha. Shining inside the office, Tsunade was surprised to see Kakashi and Naruto unscathed, but no sign of Yamato anywhere. Kakashi, being the leader in rank, began. "Tsunade-sama, mission accomplished. Naruto managed to beat Sasuke, thus resulting in the final success of Sasuke's retrieval," said Kakashi, to which Tsunade smiled and nodded. "Please report, Kakashi, where is he and Yamato?" asked Tsunade, to which Kakashi nodded. The copycat described the fight and how they managed to secure that Sasuke wouldn't be able to mold chakra by one of Yamato's wood pills. He also asked a team of Anbu to pick up Sasuke's body that Yamato is hiding via genjutsu, to which the Hokage nodded and summoned the requested team. After successfully securing the traitor and taking him to Ibiki for questioning, the group assembled in front of the Hokage. "Congratulations, all three of you. He was considered an A-ranked missingman, thus he'll receive a payment according to his ransom. Now, due to the subject in hand, this will remain a secret until either myself or Kakashi do authorize. Since Anko knew about it as well, you can tell her, Naruto, but be sure to explain that she can't tell a soul. Otherwise our secret will be jeopardized," said Tsunade, to which all nodded and then vanished. Inside Anbu HQ, Torture and Interrogation Division, slowly opening his eyes, Sasuke realized he wasn't at the Valley of the End, thus concluding he was captured by Naruto. Sasuke was pissed at how much stronger Naruto became and bit his lower lip from anger both at himself and the blonde from always being stronger than him. The Uchiha cursed Uzumaki's very existence and he cursed Kami for not giving him the power he deserved. Upon inspection to his surroundings, he realized that he was seating and that his hands were tied up by some sort of handcuffs. He also realized that escaping wouldn't be possible simply because he couldn't mold his chakra at all, which meant that he couldn't draw the power of the cursed seal. Looking around him, he couldn't see anything, since the entire room was dark. Suddenly, a flashlight was turned on and sent enough light to temporarily blind the Uchiha. The voice that soon followed managed to send shivers down Sasuke's spine. "Uchiha Sasuke, you're now being submitted to full interrogation and will respond to any of my questions. I suggest you respond them." Accordingly said Morino Ibiki as he made his appearance visible to the Uchiha. Sasuke, for his part, remembered the man when he took the Chunin exams and he was the proctor for the first exam. "What will happen if I don't comply with what you're demanding of me?" said Sasuke, purely out of curiosity and a little hint of defiance, earning a sinister laugh from Ibiki. "I strongly advise you not to. You can choose not to talk if you want to, but please bear in mind that I have enough methods to take the information out of you should I deem it necessary. However, should you choose not to comply, I can't guarantee your sanity afterwards," said Ibiki, to which Sasuke swallowed slowly, realizing that this man could do much worse with him than anyone out there. However, Sasuke knew he was in Konoha, therefore his family name must grant him some advantage. Upon voicing this to Ibiki, he was even more nervous when the man grinned and responded. "According to your file, you abandoned your citizen rights the moment you betrayed Konoha. Being that said, the Uchiha clan is no more," said Ibiki, earning a shout from Sasuke objecting severely to this. "I'm afraid you don't have a saying in this, traitor. The Hokage granted me with full authority to deal with you as I so wished, so I'll fulfill my duty and deal with you accordingly," said Ibiki as he went to a table nearby and grabbed a simple pen and paper. "Now I'll make the questions and you'll answer correctly. As an interrogator, I'm obligated to inform you that should you supply us with reliable information on Orochimaru's operations, your punishment will be reduced. Also please refrain from lying to me, cause if you do, not only will you receive a much tougher punishment, but also you will, herein, grant me full authorization to get the information by whatever mean I see fit, and trust me, I know many," said Ibiki, to which Sasuke nodded, seeing no other choice but to comply and hopefully receive a reduced punishment. Sasuke was captured, that much was true. Even though he considered himself to be the elite of the shinobi simply because of whose blood run through his veins, Sasuke wasn't delusional to believe that any minute now someone would come and rescue him. Also, without being able to mold chakra, thus not being able to activate the Sharingan or the cursed seal, Sasuke didn't have any other choice but to comply with the man's terms, thus answering everything Ibiki asked nicely. With Naruto after telling Anko of the fight, Naruto went to find his neighbor Rikimaru. Sasuke's sword was truly unbreakable, and even with Naruto channeling Fuuten chakra to his blade, it just wasn't enough to battle against the Kusanagi. Naruto could only imagine what would happen if his sword wasn't strong enough, thus shattering. He would be defenseless against Sasuke's quick and strong slashes. He needed a sword forged by a much stronger steel, thus being able to confront Orochimaru's Kusanagi in the future. However, no matter how much Naruto tried to find Rikimaru, he just couldn't find him. He went to his apartment, the Anbu HQ, everywhere. Suddenly, Naruto felt his sensei Kakashi appear via sunshine, but he wasn't alone, though. "Rikimaru-san, I've been looking everywhere for you. Where have you been?" asked Naruto, to which the Anbu member apologized and said he was on a mission and just returned. "Kakashi's in here told me your sword was damaged after facing the Kusanagi and you needed someone to fix it for you," said Rikimaru, to which Naruto nodded. "Yes, although I was channeling Fuuten chakra, Sasuke's sword ended up breaking mine, hence why I need it fixed," explained Naruto, earning a nod from the Anbu. Kakashi signaled both of them goodbye and Rikimaru asked Naruto to follow him since he knew of a person who would be able to help fix his sword. On the way, Naruto described his fight with Sasuke and the new Kenjutsu style he created by fusing Rikimaru's style and Aoi's style, as well as used the Fuuten Bakushin no Jutsu, Wind Release, Wind Dash Jutsu, for evasion purposes. Rikimaru acknowledged the blonde's creation and explained that in order to be a Kenjutsu master, one has to create his own style of fighting, to which Naruto nodded and began to think of a name for his style. Naruto's style was more focused on evading the enemy's attack using Fuuten and Jutsu and, then, performing quick attacks, aiming the enemy's unguarded place of the body. However, he couldn't think of a proper name for it. Rikimaru laughed at the blonde's apprehension towards his style's name and said that Naruto wouldn't need to focus on a name right now since first, for a style to be created, all of the user's katas would have to be created and documented within Konoha's files. Well, although I don't have any new katas of my own, at least it was proved that this style managed to beat even a Sharingan user, so it's safe to say that would be efficient upon fighting someone without a Dujutsu or Kekkei Genkai. When Rikimaru stopped in front of a simple two-story house, Naruto turned to inspect the place. Truly, it wasn't something extraordinary, but Naruto very well knew it wasn't nice to judge something based on appearances alone. Surely, he was a fine example to this theory. Suddenly, though, Naruto felt a new presence arriving and looked to the slowly opening door in anticipation. When the door fully opened, a man emerged from the door. He seemed quite old despite the fact that he appeared to be a retired shinobi. "Naruto, please meet my father Aoshi. Tauzen, this is Uzumaki," Naruto said Rikimaru, to which Naruto bowed in respect towards the man. Aoshi for his part hated such formal treatment, thus dismissing the formality and asking both of them to enter inside the house. Upon inside, Aoshi inspected the sword for a minute or two. He inspected the place where the blade shattered and asked Naruto how it was broken in the first place. Naruto for his part responded that he faced the legendary Kusanagi sword, and even with Futen chakra being channeled within the blade, it wasn't enough to contain the power of the Kusanagi. Aoshi nodded, acknowledging the fact that the Kusanagi was indeed almost unstoppable in a fight, and commended Naruto on his Futen and Jutsu usage. Indeed, the Kusanagi is one of the strongest metals there is, but there is only metal that matches that sword in strength, and that is the metal used in Kiri in order to forge the sword used by the 7 swordsmen of the mist. In that case, it's better for me to forge a new sword for you, young man. Even if we fixed yours, it wouldn't do so much before it broke again, and such a thing can result in your death, said Aoshi, to which Naruto sighed, seeing that he won't have a sword for the Jounin exams. I appreciate it, Oshizen, however I have my Jounin exams in 2 days and I don't have a sword to use it, said Naruto as he sighed, because he would have to abort the exam because of the lack of a sword to use. Aoshi, however, started laughing out loud and said that 2 days are more than enough for him to complete Naruto's new sword, making the blonde question the man about only needing 2 days. Not that I doubt your abilities, Oshizen, but would you be able to forge a new sword for me in only 2 days? Asked Naruto, to which Aoshi dismissed the blonde's inquiry and asked, Do not worry, Naruto, I will only need to take some measures and contact my metal supplier in Kiri. By tomorrow, I'll have the steel with me, and in 2 days, the new sword will be ready for you to use. Trust me, this sword will be my masterpiece. When you once again face the Kusanagi, I doubt that your new sword won't be able to face it. It will cost you, though, this steel is very rare, said Aoshi, to which Rikimaru slammed his hands on his mask, hearing his greedy father once again, but Naruto nodded and just asked him to name the price. Aoshi wrote the amount into a sheet of paper and handed to Naruto. The quantity was almost the same he received from capturing Sasuke, but if the man was speaking the truth, then it would be well spent money. You have a deal, Oshizen, I'll pay once the sword is ready, since I'm still due to collect the money from my last mission, said Naruto, to which Aoshi nodded and then proceeded to take Naruto's measures. The sword's grip, the metal's length, everything had to be taken into account for Naruto's sword to be perfect. After the measures were taken, Naruto said goodbye to both father and son and left with the promise of returning in 2 days. Walking around Konoha for a bit, Naruto was considering what to do now. He could check on some of his friends, but then again he didn't know if they were out of the village doing missions or not. Closing his eyes to think, Naruto suddenly remembered of a person he hasn't seen in a long time, and that was his first sensei, Iruka. Marching straight for the academy, the blonde smiled upon finally get to see his first friend. Apart from the Sandaime who used to visit sometime, Iruka was the only one who would spend some time with Naruto after the academy. Upon arrival, he caught the familiar voice screaming for the students to do their homework and bring them tomorrow, bringing such a nostalgic feeling to Naruto. Naruto remembered Iruka screaming at him to stop playing around, and now Naruto wondered if Iruka was proud of the person he became. Iruka for his part saw the ninja with blonde hair and blue eyes looking at him and wondered why that face was so familiar. However, when the whisker marks became visible, Iruka showed a genuine smile and greeted Naruto, who in turn greeted the teacher back. As they walked towards the park, Naruto was telling Iruka about what caused a sudden change in behavior and how this decision improved his abilities greatly. Iruka was amazed at how much his peers would say about his favorite student and voiced his pride to the blonde. After that, both of them remembered old times when Iruka would scream at Naruto when he used his Oiroku no Jutsu for the first time. "Naruto, you managed to grow up nicely," "Despite the many obstacles in your life, and I couldn't be more proud of my favorite student," said Iruka, to which Naruto nodded and appreciated the gesture. Truth be told, Naruto vowed to show all the people who believed in him that he could grow up as a fine shinobi. Kakashi was the first, and now Iruka acknowledged the blonde for growing up as nicely as he did. "Thanks a lot, Iruka Sensei. It all happened so quickly that, sometimes, I'm afraid that I will wake up in the morning and realize that this was nothing more than a dream. Since I decided to train a lot, I managed to be promoted to Chunin, and in less than a year, Tsunade-sama allowed me to take the Jounin exams. It's just a little bit overwhelming," said Naruto, to which Iruka nodded and grinned upon seeing Naruto apprehensive about something. "Not every shinobi is a genius, Naruto, however not every genius gets to beat hard work and concentration. You and Rock Lee are fine examples to this fact. Lee is quickly surpassing Mitogai in taijutsu, thus becoming Konoha's taijutsu specialist. You in little time managed to boost your career by purely hard work, thus allowing you to become a Jounin," said Iruka, to which Naruto nodded in acceptance. "Naruto, I'll have to make a report at the academy, so I have to go. Since your exams are in a couple of days, use it to relax and do some light sparrings, so as not to lose it. You'll be fine at the Jounin exams, Naruto. Just focus on your abilities and you'll do fine," said Iruka before leaving Naruto to see the sun going down in front of him. Thanks to Iruka, he knew what to do, and that involved a nice relaxation period, probably filled with meditation near the waterfall. With Tsunade looking at the report from Ibiki about Sasuke, Tsunade considered the fact that Sasuke spoke everything he knew of Orochimaru's intentions. Outside more experiments on the cursed seal, Sasuke didn't know much else. The info on Orochimaru wanting to kill Naruto wasn't news to the Hokage, however the reason as to why he wanted Naruto dead did pique her curiosity. According to the Uchiha, Orochimaru is currently on a war against Akatsuki, trying to meddle their plan to capture all the bijou, and if he killed Naruto, they wouldn't get the nine-tailed fox Kyuubi. If she played this right, she could send those two to battle and kill each other, or at least one of them is killed. Resting the report on the table, she got up from her chair and looked at Konoha. She still needed to decide which would be Sasuke's punishment because he did left the village. Although she knew the punishment would be diminished from the information he shared about Orochimaru, she also knew that his actions almost led at least 3 clan heirs to their grave, from having to fight against Orochimaru's elite guard. She knew that the punishment would have to satisfy the Nara, Hyuga, Akimichi and Inuzuka clan simply because they never were satisfied with the Uchiha's defection. She would have to call the clan heads and ask for their advice in how must be his punishment. She considered calling Naruto as well, seeing that he was involved in all affairs concerning Sasuke Uchiha, but somehow, she figured that the blonde wouldn't bother lifting a finger both up and down for Sasuke. Naruto learned to set aside what happened in the past and changed it all, by cutting all ties with his former team. He didn't care one way or another, so it would be pointless to call him. However, she could call Sasuke's sensei Kakashi and hear what he has to say. Inotogaku Kabuto was seen walking towards Orochimaru's room. He was sweating in anticipation from the news he was about to give his leader. The person he sent to investigate brought perturbing news, and Kabuto was in charge of delivering the terrible news to his master. Upon entering inside, he saw Orochimaru doing some experiments with some chemicals while smiling deviously. "Orochimaru-sama, I'm afraid I bring some bad news," said Kabuto, to which Orochimaru ended the smile and turned to look at his second-in-command. He knew how terrible the news were when Kabuto spoke formally like that, so just waited patiently to hear what went wrong. "Since Sasuke-kun was taking a while to return, I sent someone to go check what happened." He traced the chakra of the cursed seal towards the Valley of the End and also sensed traces of high-level Fuuten chakra, however Sasuke wasn't near and neither was Naruto. Also, he wasn't able to sense Sasuke's chakra anymore, but he felt the presence with Fuuten chakra returning to Konoha. Our spies in Konoha doesn't know of anything regarding Naruto leaving to fight Sasuke. But what are the possibilities of Naruto being able to capture Sasuke and the Hokage is keeping this subject a secret? Asked Kabuto before sensing a huge killer intent from Orochimaru. The man was furious for 2 reasons, one, being that he felt Sasuke using the cursed seal level 2 and that his senses died shortly after it was activated, which meant that something wrong happened, and second is that Sasuke wouldn't flee seeing that he wanted power, so that could only mean that Konoha managed to capture Sasuke. Smashing his hands with fury, thus breaking the table in front of him, Orochimaru screamed for Kabuto to find his next vessel. After Kabuto left, Orochimaru snarled and thought about the presence of Fuuten chakra. He knew that the Sarutobi clan was famous for bearing Fuuten users, but he knew Asuma wouldn't battle Sasuke out of the blue, which meant that the damn blonde once again meddled with his plans. One day later the sun rose the next day and Tsunade was seeing all 4 clan heads and Kakashi looking at her. They were already briefed of Naruto's success in capturing Sasuke from Kakashi's report on the fight. It was safe to say that Hiashi, Shikaku, Kuza and Tsume were impressed with Naruto being able to subdue the Cursed Seal level 2. Now, since you've been briefed on the situation, I called you all here to discuss Sasuke's punishment. Surprisingly, he supplied some valuable info on Orochimaru, therefore, diminishing his sentence, said Tsunade, opening the debate. All of the people present remembered how their sons and nephew, in Hiyashi's case, were almost killed because of Sasuke's actions. All of them knew that joining Orochimaru is considered to be high treason, thus resulting in death sentence. However, since Sasuke supplied information about the snake and all of them were in favor of giving Sasuke a hard, but not impossible punishment. After a while of discussing, the group managed to reach a consent. With Naruto, sounds of the waterfall, closing his eyes, Naruto was meditating right in the middle of the lake. He began focusing on the noise of the waterfall and some birds singing at the forest near the lake. He already did some light sparring before and now he was just focusing on his inner self and how his chakra flows through his inner coils. Little did he know, however, that he was being observed. Neji was near the lake and saw the blonde sitting on the lake in deep concentration. Upon activating his Byakugan, however, Neji found it strange that Naruto's chakra traveling around his inner coils like it was doing laps around the village. Huh, what a strange way to manipulate chakra, Naruto. Wonder what you intend with this? Thought Neji as he kept observing Naruto's chakra as it flowed graciously inside his inner coils. Neji was surprised to see that Naruto managing to pass his chakra to all 361 tenketsus of his body in a synchronized pattern. Deactivating the Byakugan, all Neji could now see was Naruto sitting on top of the lake with his eyes closed. What else surprised Neji? It was how peaceful the blonde appeared, as in he didn't have a care in the world. Moments later, Neji's team arrived and asked what he was looking at. Tenten and Lee looked at the center of the lake and spotted Naruto with his eyes closed and wondered what he was doing. Their sensei Mido Gai smiled at the blonde and explained to his youthful students about the art of meditation. Observe, my youthful students, Naruto right now is meditating. By closing his eyes and reaching a state of mind, Naruto is able to enhance his senses. Hearing, smell and touch are all enhanced upon reaching this state of meditation. You wouldn't be surprised right now if he knew we were here watching him, said Gai, to which Tenten snorted her sensei in disbelief. I would listen to your sensei if I were you, Tenten. By the way, you could lower your volume a little bit, I could hear you all the way from Iwa, said Naruto as he appeared out of the blue, making Tenten jump and land on top of Neji, who had no choice but use his arms and hold Tenten, earning a blush from the two in response. Lee, on the other hand, was ecstatic and began screaming about how youthful Naruto is, as well as telling his sensei that if he didn't manage to reach that state in meditation he would run 10 laps around Konoha, earning a sigh from Neji and Tenten. Naruto, however, only smiled at the green spandex chunin and how nice is the sensei-slash-student relationship between him and Gai. Neji, remembering a rumor he heard with some jounins, that Naruto was to apply at the jounin exams, and questioned as to the veracity of the rumor to the blonde. Naruto nodded, saying that the Hokage considered him capable of promoting rank once again, not only from ninjutsu but from some A-ranked missions he performed this year. Needless to say, Lee screamed once again about flames of youth, earning once again a nod and thumbs up from Gai. Naruto, you happen to see Kakashi around? I've been meaning to challenge him to a new duel I've come up with, said Gai, to which Naruto nodded in the negative, saying that after their mission together, he and Kakashi went separate ways and that he haven't seen him since. Appreciating the help, Gai jumped towards the village to see if he could find his rival, thus all of his team following close behind, leaving Naruto alone in the training ground. Since he had a few more time before his jounin exams, Naruto decided to train some more of his iron manipulation. So far, he managed to perform the Doden Tetsu Heki no Jutsu, Earth Release, Iron Barrier Jutsu, so he wanted to apply this technique to an offensive technique. Unfortunately, all earth-based offensive attacks involved mud, so iron manipulation would be out. However, he saw one Saoi using a jutsu where he extracted a spear from the ground and threw at the opponent, and if Naruto managed to use iron manipulation and extract an iron spear, then it would be able to pierce all defenses. His brain was focusing hard to remember the seals needed for this jutsu as well as mix some new hand seals for iron manipulation. The process was very complex. Although iron manipulation was an advanced form of Doden manipulation, it was obvious that Naruto needed to add more hand seals than the original technique. Naruto's brain processed a little bit and come up with 2 hand seals that happened to mold chakra in a similar way to when he managed to manipulate iron. Adding these new ones to the original sequence, the blonde molded some chakra and extended his right arm. Although the ground opened what would normally happen prior to the spear appearing on the blonde's hand, this time the only thing visible was the size of a stick and didn't even left the ground. The only thing good about Naruto's first attempt was that the stick was forged with iron, so he at least managed the hand seals sequence right. Now it was just a matter of knowing the right amount of chakra needed for the technique to work perfectly. Seeing the size of the stick, Naruto found it extremely obvious that more chakra was needed so as to increase the size and create a spear. Initiating the sequence again, Naruto, this time, channeled more chakra than before and this time, the spear was formed, but he couldn't control it to be able to reach his hand. The blonde snarled, but kept his rhythm and didn't give up. Naruto figured that since Aoi was a master of Doden manipulation, the man knew how to transform earth-based attacks into iron-based attacks, but if Naruto managed to do this on his own, he wouldn't need help from him. Concentrating even more this time, but with the same chakra quantity, Naruto went through the hand seals and screamed the name with enthusiasm. Doten Tetsuyari no Jutsu, Earth Release, Iron Spear Jutsu, screamed Naruto as the iron spear reached his hands just like the regular Doden technique would. Thinking even further, more specifically, his created Doden technique Doden Supaiku Ouchi, Earth Release, Spike Pit Jutsu. Naruto was thinking of adding iron manipulation to the spikes that surround the pit. However, the blonde needed to rest, so he called it a day and went back home. With Sasuke, news of Sasuke's return to Konoha was still kept a secret by those who knew. The Uchiha was now located within Ibiki's special cell section for dangerous criminals. The reason to this is also to keep his presence within Konoha's walls a secret. Looking at the four walls that surrounded the place, Sasuke could only sigh and wonder what would happen to him now that he was captured. He wasn't any way near reaching his goal to kill his brother, and now that he betrayed Konoha for power, his fate rests in their hands. The Uchiha wasn't ignorant to believe that Konoha wouldn't punish him for what he did, even if they still urged for the Sharingan Dujutsu to bear children, which by the way, was his second goal after killing Itachi. Sasuke planned that once killing his brother, he would try returning on his free will to Konoha and start reviving his clan. Sasuke answered all of Ibiki's questions in hope of not receiving a tougher punishment which could end his ninja career. He just hoped the information was enough because he couldn't think of other info about Orochimaru that Konoha didn't already know. Sighing once again in frustration from not being able to do anything, thus having to wait for his judgment, Sasuke recalled his fight with Naruto. No matter how many times he did this, he couldn't set his mind at ease with seeing Naruto becoming so strong like that. Before the fight, Sasuke presumed Naruto would fight using Kage Bunshin and Rasengan, being that the only technique the blonde knew until Sasuke vanished from Konoha. Also, Sasuke knew that the Sannin Jiraiya didn't teach him much, from information of Kabuto's spy. That being said, either Naruto trained alone or someone taught him how to manipulate wind, which Sasuke hoped it would be the last choice. The idea of training alone and reaching that level of elemental manipulation was nothing short of amazing, and Sasuke wondered if, given time, he could be on Naruto's level without Orochimaru's aid. Another thing that pretty much set Sasuke on edge was how strangely calm and reserved was his behavior. Where before Sasuke needed to protect his ears from the blonde's never-ending shouts, now Sasuke couldn't even hear the blonde breathing, which was amazing in itself. He remembered when he saw Naruto appearing at the clearance without a care in the world, saying he took a while to get to the Valley of the End because he decided to admire the beautiful day. Sasuke preferred to kill himself if he would voice this, but when he saw Naruto smiling upon looking around, the blonde seemed to exhale so much peace and tranquility to the air around him. And that pissed the Uchiha to no end, simply because at the time, he thought that Naruto was toying with Sasuke's emotions. However, now that the Uchiha remembered, the only time Naruto taunted with his mind was after Sasuke, himself, verbally assaulted the blonde. As to the choice in element, the heavens couldn't curse him more, giving Sasuke a Raiden affinity and his ultimate rival, a stronger affinity for Fuuten. Sasuke didn't believe in coincidences, but he was battling his mind in order to explain why Naruto had to possess the only affinity that Raiden can't beat. Sasuke wondered if Naruto knew about this. That's why he was all smiling and peaceful, because if push come to shove, or when element confronted element, Naruto would have the advantage. Maybe, maybe not. Sasuke was gauging the reason as to why Naruto was so calm, until the subject named other abilities came to mind. Sasuke, himself, was not only proficient with Raiden, but also kata ninjutsu. So, maybe Naruto could have other affinities as well, or even knowledge in other elements. However, if Naruto really did have other abilities, then why didn't he use any of them against him? Why did Naruto focus only on Fuuten, when he could use either Suten or Doten. They were surrounded by water, so Naruto could very well use Suten and deal with him. Also, they were in the valley, a place that contains a lot of rock, thus giving him the opportunity to use Doten and Jutsu. That being said, either he didn't know other elements apart from Uten or he chose not to use other elements. Either way, he managed to beat Sasuke. Last, Sasuke wondered about Naruto's eyes and how just looking at him made him have a vision of himself being killed numerous times. Sasuke knew it wasn't a genjutsu, because 1. Naruto didn't know any genjutsu techniques and 2. His dojutsu was activated, so he wouldn't be caught by 1, no matter the level of the technique. So, it's got to be a dojutsu. However, Sasuke didn't know of a third dojutsu in Konoha, even a Kekai Genkai that could do this to anyone who looks at them. Sasuke was now snarling at the never-ending questions he would like answered. His curiosity was immense now after seeing what Naruto could do, and he really wanted to have some answers or else he would lose his mind. However, even with the sound restriction inside the cell, Sasuke managed to hear footsteps approaching. When said person appeared in front of his cell, though, Sasuke recognized that face instantly. Not to mention that the orange book was a dead giveaway. Hokage Kakashi eyed his ex-student with plain disappointment. He always blamed himself for not drilling into Sasuke's mind that vengeance isn't the way out to solve the past. However, he realized that Sasuke abandoned his village even before Orochimaru appeared and placed the cursed seal on him. Kakashi knew that Sasuke was a time bomb wanting to explode, and he was right. Now looking at the despicable image of said Uchiha wearing the prisoner outfit, Kakashi couldn't help but want to knock the shit out of Sasuke. This was not why he came here, though. He wanted to see Sasuke with his own eyes and see what had become of his student. Seeing you inside this cell, Sasuke, showed me the resemblance between the Uchiha brothers. The only difference is that Itachi isn't here right now, said Kakashi, not even caring to see if his commentary angered the young Uchiha. Sasuke, on the other hand, wasn't a fool to realize that he became just like his brother did, a missing nin, a traitor of the village. He wanted to tell Kakashi to shove that commentary and bark a lot of arguments to support his side of the story, but he could not. In the end, he did abandon the village to go after one of Konoha's mortal enemies, thus betraying Konoha just like Itachi did. Kakashi was surprised Sasuke accepted the comparison with Itachi, although, he didn't show it. Sasuke betrayed Konoha, so it wouldn't be fair to those who almost lost their lives while trying to find ways of bringing him back. How many Anbu Black Ops members were lost by trying to find trails of Orochimaru, but ended up meeting Kabuto's chakra scalpels? And 3 years ago, if the Medicnans didn't arrive in time, Neji and Kuuji would die for sure. All of these were taken into account. At least, he was glad to see Sasuke not refuting Kakashi's arguments. Sasuke, however, surprised him by asking about Naruto and how it was possible that he became so strong. Kakashi would have smiled if the situation wasn't serious. After everything that happened, Sasuke still thinks of his rivalry with Naruto. Tell me, Kakashi, how did Naruto become so strong? How did he change after the last time I saw him? Asked Sasuke with a hint of endless and morbid curiosity, which Kakashi noticed and picked up a chair, since this could take a while. Even after what you did, your mind is still set up on the fact that you lost to Naruto, huh? Well, as to your questions, Naruto did change a lot after he returned from that failed mission a year ago, said Kakashi as he continued to explain to Sasuke about Naruto. He told about Naruto taking the blame from the mission failure and his request to be disbanded from Team 7, which made Sasuke go wide-eyed at thinking of seeing heel freezing before Naruto leaving Team 7. Kakashi explained about Naruto's exhaustive training for the Chunin exams where the blonde won the championship. Kakashi didn't bother telling Sasuke about Naruto's other abilities, simply because, just like Naruto said before, he didn't want to see an angered Sasuke, demanding power. He only told about Naruto's few Uten abilities and the fact that Kakashi joined with the blonde for tougher missions. When Kakashi finished, Sasuke was in deep thinking. First of all, the thought of Naruto wanting to leave the team was a foreign concept for him. He remembered how Naruto felt about said team 3 years ago and wondered what he took into consideration in order to reach that decision. Although Kakashi didn't tell him much about other affinities, Sasuke now was convinced that the blonde had at least a second knowledge. He knew that Kakashi wouldn't tell him everything, simply because he wasn't trustworthy enough to receive this information. Kakashi, when we fought, Naruto looked at me with changed eyes. What was that? Asked Sasuke, hoping to solve the never-ending mystery, to which Kakashi looked at the Uchiha for a while. Kakashi knew it was a new dojutsu, but the Hokage felt better to treat as a new jutsu and study it for later. Also, Kakashi wouldn't be stupid as to tell Sasuke that Naruto possessed a jutsu, so he used Naruto's name for his eyes, describing to Sasuke that it was an ninjutsu the blonde created. He knew Sasuke wouldn't believe him, but he told anyway and then left Sasuke on his own to think. Assassin stare? Yes, a fitting name to it, thought Sasuke. He knew it was a lie. If it was a ninjutsu, he would be able to copy it with his Sharingan. However, even after some answers, the blonde remained an enigma to Sasuke. He didn't know what to believe anymore. 3 years ago, Naruto was everything but a shinobi. He was rash, obnoxious, attacked without thinking and always got in trouble. Now, he's completely opposite, strong, controlled and powerful as well. The Uchiha felt compelled to know the blonde's secret to managing to obtain such level. Inside Naruto's house already on his bed, Naruto wondered about two things. First, his sword. 2 days and Rikimaru's father was able to create a sword that rivaled the Kusanagi. And second, the Jounin exams. The elemental exam wasn't an issue, he would just need to provide a demonstration of Fuuten and Doden techniques during an ninjutsu battle. He already knew his strategy, which consisted of using Doden for defense and Fuuten to attack and possibly switch occasionally. The only problem, now, was the Kenjutsu battle. Rumors stated that this Uegao person was the best in the art. Also, Naruto would fight with a new sword, thus not adapted to it as he was with his old one. He seriously hoped to pick the sword at least a couple of hours before the exams, so he could test the sword a little bit. He wondered about who would be watching the exams. Surely, Tsunade and Jiraiya would be there, since she was the Godime Hokage and Jiraiya was a Sannin. He doubted Aoi, Kakashi and Anko would miss this for personal reasons. He was wondering, though, if Iruka would be able to see the exam. It would mean a lot to Naruto if his surrogate brother would be there to see him. Suddenly, Naruto heard the noise of someone transporting inside his house and immediately grabbed a kunai. He knew it wasn't Anko or anyone he knew, simply because he could sense their chakra signatures with ease, and this one wasn't familiar to him at all. Upon arrival, though, he spotted what seemed to be some toads together with Namikaze staring at him with a somewhat demanding face. Suddenly, the little one with a little white beard spoke, apparently from out of nowhere since Naruto wasn't able to see the source of the voice. "Naruto, I don't believe we've met. My name is Fukasaku," said the elder toad, to which Naruto just nodded, waiting for him to continue. "Apart from Jiraiya, you're our only summoner, thus you've got responsibilities as such. After you summoned Gamabunda to fight the Shukaku host 3 to 4 years ago, you only called Namikaze here a few times, and that was to deliver something to Konoha. Now the reason as to why I'm here is to discuss about why you didn't feel the need to summon us every once in a while?" asked Fukasaku, to which Naruto looked at the little toad for a while. Sure, the toad was right, he didn't in fact summon any toad lately, but that's because his enemies were all human, thus he didn't feel the need to summon the toads. Truth be told, Naruto didn't know other toads except Gamabunta, Gamikaze and Gamatatsu, and the fact that he didn't summon them is because Gamabunta wastes too much chakra to face regular enemies and the other two, let's just say he never really fought alongside with them. Upon voicing this thought, Fukasaku was surprised that in 3 years, Jiraiya didn't mention any other toad to the boy, and now knew why Naruto didn't summon any other toad. "Naruto, not all toads are huge like Gamabunta. They are battle toads that specialize in a specific area of expertise. For instance, I've got 3 battle toads that would be of much help to your way of fighting," said the elder toad, to which Naruto looked at the man suspiciously. "How do you know my way of fighting, if I may ask?" "It's been a while since I last summoned Gamikaze and he didn't see any of it," said Naruto, to which Fukasaku smiled in a devious way. "Let's just say that we invented a jutsu that enables us to shrink in size and you figure the rest," said the elder toad, before seeing Naruto widen his eyes in realization of the fact that the toads were with him the whole time. "I will not ask why you followed me at all. Instead, if you could perhaps teach me about who can I summon, and let's see if they match my fighting style or not," asked Naruto, to which the toad smiled. "Gamabuki, sword, Gamariki, strength, Gamamazu, water, please present yourselves," shouted Fukasaku before 3 pillars of smoke, making Naruto divert his eyes to the new arrivals. The first one was white with a few brown stripes, carrying what seemed to be double swords on his back. The other one was similar in appearance to the first one, but instead of brown, it was black and no weapons whatsoever. The last one was all yellow and was wearing an ocean blue jacket. All 3 of them were taller than an average adult and had all the appearances of facing any battle. "These 3 battle toads fit perfectly with your fighting style, and I'll demonstrate to you. Gamabuki here is like you, a master sword user." "He," said Fukasaku, but stopped when the dual sword toad dashed really fast and stopped his twin swords only inches from Naruto's neck, earning the elder toad's sigh and also an explanation. Unfortunately, he tends to be a little stubborn and go challenging people on occasion. I'm just glad he didn't proceed with his attack, said the elder toad, to which Naruto smiled and Gamabukki smiled as well, before answering. The Gaki's alright, Fukasaku-sama, he just blocked my swords with a few Uten charged kunai. Impressive, very impressive indeed. Moving along, Fukasaku introduced Gamariki, a strong, but reliable toad who in turn introduced himself with respect. Last on the line, was Gamamazu, aka Toadsuten Master. Gamamazu here, I believe, will be a great addition to your ninjutsu department. By fusing your Fuuden techniques with Isuten, the technique can be deadly. These three will be your personal summons for now on and will help you should you call for them. In order to summon a different toad, just think of the toad's name and perform the Kushios ritual. Well, that is all I came to tell you, Naruto. Good luck on the exams tomorrow, said the elder toad before every toad vanished. And Naruto scratched his eyes and yawned for a while. The toads could have chosen to appear a little bit early, he wondered. However, he smiled upon seeing his three new summons and the possibilities of training or fighting alongside them. Next day upon waking up, the blonde was already feeling the pressure created by the Jounin exams today. He was thanking Kami for scheduling the exam later in the day, enabling Naruto to gather his new sword, do some light exercises with Gamabukki. He thought of it after he returned to his bed, and then rest a little while before the exam. He wondered about this Yuagao's abilities and how would his style match hers on battle. Naruto's style focused more on agility and the usage of Fuuten chakra to not only strengthens the steel, but to also improve the blonde's speed upon evading or maneuvering around the enemy. His sword strikes, although quite lethal, wasn't as important as his speed with the sword, simply because by having the speed advantage, Naruto could move unpredictably, thus making the enemy go into defensive and try avoiding Naruto's attacks. However, as the blonde walked towards Aoshi's house, he was wondering if the new sword handle would be at least similar to the old one. The blonde grew accustomed to the old one and even created his style with it. If the new sword were to be somewhat different, Naruto would have to improvise and change some habits, and that was something he didn't want to, at least not hours away from his Jounin exams where he is supposed to have a Kenjutsu match against Yuagao. As he walked, though, his eyes met two familiar faces. Well, one familiar face and one all covered up. To Naruto figured it was Aburame Shino and his way of concealing every part of his body. The familiar face belonged to Hinata and they seemed to be discussing about something since he could see Hinata speaking and Shino just listening as per usual. Since he got back with Jiraiya, he wasn't able to go on missions with either Kurenai's team or Asuma's team. At least, he met Asuma's team on occasions, but Kurenai's team, though, there was no contact at all. Suddenly, a big white fur appeared right in front of him, and on top of the dog was Inuzuka Kiba dressed in all black leather. "What's up, Naruto? Forgot about your friends already?" asked Kiba, to which Naruto smiled and greeted the Inuzuka. "It just seems that we're out of luck when it comes to our presence inside the village. When I'm out on mission, you guys are within the village, and when I'm here, your team is out on a mission," said Naruto, making Kiba look at the blonde wondering what he just said because he didn't understand half of it. However, what the dog user didn't understand was Naruto saying like this. Kiba thought it was quite strange to hear Naruto speaking like Shino. Speaking of which, the bug user acknowledged Naruto's words and greeted the blonde. Hinata, though, was nervous for some reason since she couldn't find the strength to greet the blonde like a normal person. After seeing this, Naruto looked at Shino for a hint of what was happening, to which he responded that Hinata was just nervous around the blonde, thus earning a jump in surprise from the said Hyuga. Naruto, for his part, shrugged it off, figuring he shouldn't press the issue further. Kiba turned to look at Naruto one more time and remembered that the blonde was promoted to Chunin. Kiba was remembering Naruto's fights at the Chunin exams and wondered what animal bit him in the ass for him to change so much. Suddenly, a new presence arrived, and it was the team's sensei Yui Kurenai. Upon looking at her team all gathered, she smiled since she wouldn't need to go search for all of them. However, she found Naruto there as well with hands on pocket, talking to Kiba and Shino, while Hinata was unsurprisingly, struggling to even look at his face. Kurenai sighed once again and wondered what the blonde had that Hinata found so hard to look at. The girl already acknowledged the fact that what attracted Naruto so much was his will never to give up. In fact, it was Hinata herself who said that she admired Naruto more than anything. Perhaps if Naruto saw how Hinata fights, he could acknowledge her skills, thus ending this feeling once and for all. Upon approaching the team, Kurenai voiced her presence, to which all her team and the blonde greeted in return. "I'm glad to find the whole team in one go. The Hokage called us for a B-ranked investigation mission. We have to go and meet her right away, said Kurenai, to which all team nodded and proceeded to leave. Naruto, smiling at them, turned towards Aoshi's place but stopped upon hearing Kurenai's voice calling him. Naruto, this mission would require a fifth member to perform, are you interested? Asked Kurenai, to which Naruto looked at the group and nodded his head in the negative. Thanks, but I can't go, Kurenai-san. I have to pick my sword and my jounin exams in today. Thanks for asking, though. Good luck on the mission, said Naruto before turning and heading to the swordsmith's house, leaving four, if Shino's mouth was visible, mouths open with shock. None of them managed to utter a word of the recent news. Kiba was the first, though, and his rage was quite visible. Kurenai Sensei, he made it Chunin a year ago, how the hell he was eligible for the exams? All three of us reached our second year as Chunin, shouted Kiba, awakening Kurenai from her wondering. She was visibly impressed right now. Kiba was right, he only had a year as Chunin, but she knew also that Naruto managed to reach some serious rank in ninjutsu, managing up to 3 elements. Also she knew of some of the blonde's adventures around, like some rumor she heard of him being able to convince an S-rank Tiwa missing in to become a citizen of Konoha, and now this man happens to ask for jounin status to the Hokage and ask for a team of Genin to train. She also heard from Hinata's cousin Neji about some missions Naruto participated along. Although I'm surprised as well with his promotion, Naruto did manage to increase his elemental jutsu repertoire, and since he returned from Sasuke's rescue mission, I heard from Neji and Kakashi that Naruto is doing higher B2A ranked missions one after another, explained Kurenai, which managed to ease both Shino and Hinata, but unsurprisingly not Kiba. Yes, right. I bet I can beat him to the ground with the Inuzuka clan jutsus. I can't believe they picked him and not me or even Yoshino to be promoted to jounin, shouted Kiba once again, which earned a smile from Kurenai. Although she wondered if Naruto had the experience needed for a jounin, she didn't doubt his abilities in a fight, and Kiba challenging him could, maybe, form a new rivalry between the two and show Kiba a thing or two about elemental manipulation. She always wanted to teach her students elemental manipulation, but since all of them had special jutsus and some family traditions, she wasn't able to. Kiba, if you're interested in challenging him, you're allowed to. The mission is only due to start for a while, so Tsunade-sama could brief us later, said Kurenai, to which Kiba screamed and turned to meet Naruto for a challenge, while Shino spoke to Kurenai. Even though he can get annoying sometimes, that won't help much. I happen to know that Naruto grew stronger than before and Kiba doesn't stand a chance. What do you plan with this? Asked Shino, to which Kurenai smiled and responded. Kiba sure it's hot-headed enough to charge Naruto without knowing what to expect. This challenge can show Kiba and you two a thing or two about elemental manipulation. Hopefully, I could get to override your family's restricted knowledge to only family jutsus and teach all of you, said Kurenai, to which Shino and Hinata nodded, now understand the reason. With Naruto after leaving the house, Naruto was studying his new piece of metal. The sword was much lighter than the old one, and this sword happened to be more receptive to channeling chakra, thus making it more durable with Fuuten chakra. Although expensive, Aoshi deserved every penny. The guy was a perfectionist. It was all perfect, the size, the sword grip fitted, the sword balance, everything the old one had and even more. He couldn't wait to summon Game Ibuki and practice the new sword. Suddenly, though, but kind of expected from Naruto's part, Kiba and Akamaru appeared and he clearly was mad about something. Can I help you, Kiba? I thought your team had a mission right now? Asked Naruto before seeing teammate landing behind Kiba and turned to listen to the Inuzuka. I found it very intriguing that you managed to reach the rank of jounin with only 1 year as Chunin, while I'm already at the second year and not even close to, snarled Kiba, showing Naruto what was wrong. After placing the sword safely on his back, Naruto looked at Kiba once more. He was finding hard to believe that Kiba was blaming him for such a thing. Kiba, if you're thinking about fair judgment and all that, please remember that in order for a Chunin to be promoted to jounin, his or her Junin sensei must give his or her full consent in the matter. Tsunade-sama asked Kakashi and Sensei who deemed me ready for the exams, even though I'm a little bit skeptical about my chances of actually passing, said Naruto, to which Kiba blinked a few times in realization of the truth. However, he wouldn't leave without a fight. That may be true, so if I manage to beat you in a fight, that means I'll be eligible for the jounin exams, then said Kiba as he jumped backwards and took his position. The thought of having to fight prior to the jounin exams didn't suit Naruto at all. However, Kiba's behavior indicated that he would only leave after either winning a battle or losing one. Fine, I'll fight against you, but let's go somewhere more secluded. You Inuzukas tend to explode everything and hope to catch the enemy, and that could destroy some houses around, said Naruto before jumping towards a training ground, earning a snarl from Kiba because of the blonde's remark to his family. The others, though agreeing with the blonde, chose not to voice from fear of having to put up with an angry Kiba. At the training ground upon arrival, Naruto faced against Kiba and Akamaru for the second time. The blonde remembered their last fight and chuckled from recalling that a fart was responsible for his victory. Looking at Kiba's face, Naruto could see that the Inuzuka felt confident that he could win. Naruto didn't want to use the big guns from fear of losing too much chakra and not doing well at the exams. Kiba for his part also recalled their previous battle and cursed the fact that Naruto farted on his face that day. Seeing that she was the highest in rank, Kurenai walked forward and authorized the beginning of the fight. Without even letting the blonde think about a suitable strategy, Kiba and Akamaru started spinning in a dual drill towards Naruto. The blonde didn't want to get hit by this technique, which by the way hurt like a bitch, so he made some hand seals and slammed his hands on the ground. He could have done the simple technique, but he intended for it to be a bit more resilient to damage. Doten Tetsu Heki no Jutsu, Earth Release, Iron Wall Jutsu. Instantly, a huge wall made of iron rose from the ground, thus protecting Naruto from Kiba and Akamaru's attack. Both dog and human grinned about seeing the Doryuki because they know this wall wouldn't hold their attack. However, upon contact, the wall managed to resist the attack, thus ending with Kiba and Akamaru hitting their heads with force. After the wall went down, Naruto saw that Kiba and Akamaru were checking to their heads to see if it was bleeding or something like that, so he just waited for them to realize that he was just waiting. The crowd was suspected the same thing about Naruto's earth wall and that Kiba would pass through without a problem. However, they saw the wall standing like nothing had happened. They knew something was strange with this technique. Hinata activated her Byakugan and told Kurenai and Shino that the wall wasn't only made out of earth, but also a much stronger substance which she couldn't identify, to which Shino concluded it was iron. Iron happens to be an advanced form of Doten manipulation, but so far only one man in Iwa managed iron manipulation. I wonder how Naruto was able to learn it? Asked Shino rhetorically. Back to the fight, Kiba spotted Naruto waiting for his attack and he didn't wait to attack once again. He engaged Naruto in taijutsu, but he couldn't hit Naruto no matter what. It was like his fist was connecting to Naruto's face, but then the last minute, the blonde would simply dodge out of nowhere. It continued so for a few minutes until Kiba jumped backwards to think more clearly with Akamaru. He was so focused on the Naruto in front of him, though, that he failed to realize the growing hand from the ground, grabbing his leg and pushing Kiba to the ground. Doten Shinjo Zanshu no Jutsu Earth Release, Double Suicide Decapitation Jutsu, thus immobilizing him underground. The next thing Kiba knew, he saw Naruto's sword inches from his neck, thus ending the fight in a couple of moves. Kurenai gave the victory to Naruto and then ushered to dig her student from the ground. Of course, Naruto used some Doten manipulation and pulled him out faster. After that, he turned to leave when Kiba shouted his name for a rematch. Like I said before, Kiba, I have an exam to focus on today, I can't waste too much chakra fighting with you. Sorry, maybe some other time, said Naruto before disappearing within a small typhoon, leaving teammate alone. It was safe to say that Kiba's pride was thrown to the ground so fiercely that he was finding it unbearable to breathe normally. Kurenai, although, silently thanked Naruto for not using some lethal jutsus against her student, felt that Naruto could use a less humiliating technique to end a fight. That last technique always sounded to her like a dirty trick, but she was ashamed to say that she already fell for it upon sparring with Kakashi a while ago. However, this was her cue to introduce elemental manipulation to her team. Kiba, I know how you feel right now, but I promise you that after what I intend to train all of you in, you'll have another advantage against stronger enemies, said Kurenai, to which Kiba looked at her perplexed only to see 3 white chakra papers on her hand. We are going to learn about elemental manipulation, and this special papers will determine which element all 3 of you are better suited for, explained Kurenai as he gave 1 paper to each of them. The afternoon sun was scalding. Some considered this day to be the hottest day of the year in Konoha thus far. No matter what, though, some ninja were faithful to their training and wouldn't stop just because it was hot out there. At one of the training grounds, 3 swords appeared dashing like crazy and the noises made upon contact echoed through the entire field. Just a few minutes ago, Naruto beat Kiba in a sparring match and then he summoned Game Ibuki in order for him to test his new sword. Needless to say that Toad was thrilled to help Naruto, since he happens to be addicted to a challenge. As their swords danced with each other, Naruto was taking a liking to this Toad and his abilities in Kenjutsu. Also the fact that the sword was lighter than the first and surprisingly more resistant to damage, Naruto found that he could parry both Game Ibuki's swords with it, of course channeling Fuuten chakra to increase its strength. A moment there, When the three swords collided, Naruto used some strength to push Gamabukie's sword and flipped back in order to have some space, from being too overwhelming to fight two swords at the same time. However, that proved to be a mistake, since Gamabuki grinned evilly and began focusing Fuuten chakra through his swords and hold them like an X. Fuuten Kusaika, Wind Release, Cross Swords Jutsu, said Gamabuki as they sent the swords down and sent the attack towards Naruto, who gulped, before barely dodging the projectile because of the short distance. Once looking at the toad smiling like that, Naruto scowled and now saw why these toads matched his fighting style. You also use Fuuten Ninjutsu Gamabuki. I guess we aren't so different, then. Fugasaku-sama was right then. I have a question, though, said Naruto as he putted his sword back in the holster from fear of putting too much pressure on it before the exams initiate. Gamabuki for his part nodded on the Fuuten Ninjutsu usage as well and asked Naruto what was the question, to which the blonde smiled. What the hell are you doing? Trying to kill me? I thought this was a sparring match, Kenjutsu only. That attack would have cut me twice had I not dodged, shouted Naruto, earning a sweat drop from the toad, who in turn realized what he did and looked down. Sorry about that, Naruto. It's just that I tend to be a little too excited during the challenge and I forgot that we fought with ninjutsu restriction. I have to say, though, I never figured you'd be this good with a sword. When Fugasaku-sama told me about you, I was skeptical of your Kenjutsu abilities, but seeing it in person eliminated all my doubts. It's difficult to see a human being able to match my twin swords in battle, and I can't wait for us to battle side by side soon. Good luck on the exam and summon me once again, whether it is a Kenjutsu spar or to assist you in battle, said Gamabuki, before leaving Naruto to stretch a while before turning around and heading towards the designated place where his jounin exams would take place. Inside Anbu headquarters, without much to do except to wait to hear what his punishment would be, Sasuke chose to sleep for a while. Of course, it was a common fact that nightmares still plagued his head, simply because, unknowingly to everyone, Sasuke was traumatized with what Itachi did to him using one of the techniques of the final stage of the Sharingan, and now once again, just like every night, Itachi appeared in his dreams once again, or nightmare. In the dream, Sasuke saw the Uchiha compound and he entered the main house, only to see three children running towards him, all looking exactly like him, but with a few differences, presumably from his wife. Those were his children, he thought, and he was finally able to resuscitate his clan. Suddenly, Sasuke could hear Itachi's voice and a huge Manjin Kaiya Sharingan appeared in front of him, hypnotizing his children and making them scream. Sasuke could only scream for his brother to don't harm his children, but the response was the same. Foolish little brother, you lack the necessary hatred to overcome my strength. By killing your offspring, you'll have what it takes to defeat me. Instantly, Sasuke woke up drenched in sweat and realizing that it was all a nightmare. It was not long, however, that Sasuke saw Ibiki appear along with three Anbu Black Ops and open the cell. Your trial is underway, Sasuke. You will now hear what punishment the Hokage saw fit in order to compensate for your acts against Konoha, said Ibiki as he ordered the Anbu Black Ops to escort Sasuke to the designated chamber. The Uchiha didn't fight their grip, simply because he didn't see any hope in doing this. He was strong, sure, but to overcome three high-level shinobi, he would be beat to death. As the group continued walking, a shadow was following them. Kabuto ran like hell to arrive in Konoha just in time to save Sasuke before execution is upon him. He managed to infiltrate the place where he knew Sasuke would be held prisoner and would try rescuing him, had Ibiki not arrived to fetch Uchiha Sasuke. Now, his time was short and he would have to act fast if he wanted to rescue the Uchiha. Thinking about it for a while, Kabuto despised the boy. Because of Orochimaru, Kabuto had to put up with such an arrogant fool whose only advantage was the fool's eyes. Actually, Kabuto restrained from using his chakra scalpel to kill him and be done with it, but then again Orochimaru would be pissed at him and that he didn't want it all. However, as Kabuto ghosted the group, one of them was suspicious of a fifth presence and secretly signed for the Anbu members to be aware of their surroundings in case of an attempt to kidnap the prisoner. While walking, the group signed back to Ibiki, all of them saying that the presence is watching them from the ceiling, to which Ibiki nodded and prepared for an attack which would be soon to come. Suddenly, a blur fell from the roof and Kabuto was ready to use his chakra scalpels on the one holding Sasuke, when Ibiki caught the man's hands. "This is our lucky day, boys, first the Uchiha and now Kabuto," said Ibiki as he squeezed Kabuto's hand with chakra, thus breaking Kabuto's hand in the process. At first, Ibiki thought that the enemy would scream in pain, but seeing Kabuto just smirking, he now knew how sadistic one had to be in order to be near that snake. Kabuto for his part wasn't foolish to believe he could take on 4 Anbu-level shinobi, nor he was even more foolish to risk his life for Sasuke's. So, he did the only thing a ninja do once cornered and no chance of winning. He shined out of there, thus managing to escape. Ibiki snarled upon letting Kabuto escape, but then shrugged it off and continued down the path along with Sasuke and the other 3 Anbu members. "Ibiki-senpai, should I issue a search order for Kabuto? He might still be inside Konoha," asked one of the members, to which Ibiki nodded in negative and explained. "No need for that. Kabuto is slippery son of a bitch. He's probably out of Konoha as we speak. I doubt we would find him. We must focus on the task at hand," Trooper said Ibiki, to which the Anbu soldier wearing the bear mask complied and continued to walk. Once they arrived at the designated spot, which was pretty much empty except for a red bench in the middle and what seemed to be a mirror on the far wall. After positioning Sasuke on top of the bench, Ibiki left through a door near there and appeared inside a chamber where Tsunade, Shizune, Kakashi and Sakura were waiting. Being the Hokage's apprentice, she was supposed to witness everything in order to better assist Tsunade in everyday matters. Sakura found it odd, though, that Kakashi was in the room with them. Shrugging it off, she turned to look at the prisoner whose head was covered by a bag, just waiting to hear the Hokage's penalty. The rest of the group actually considered keeping Sakura away from this trial, however by doing so, the girl would be suspicious and start asking unwanted questions and also calling too much attention. However, that didn't mean they were too happy with letting her see who was being judged right now. Sasuke's return was something she wished since he left 3 to 4 years ago, and seeing him about to lose everything was something all of them knew the pink-haired Chunin would disagree. "Tsunade-sama, we are ready for him," said Ibiki, to which Tsunade sighed and authorized the removal of the bag. Ibiki acknowledged the order and returned to the place where the prisoner was being held. She was only counting the time for Sakura to explode. When Ibiki removed the bag from the man's head, and Sakura's heart stopped instantly. Her eyes widened to impossible amounts and her pupils were dilated. She couldn't think, she couldn't even utter a single sound. The only noise that could be heard was her messy breathing as she turned to cope with the fact that the one whose heart she earned was now being treated as nothing more than a prisoner. Upon turning to eye her sensei Kakashi, she saw nothing in his eyes. It was like he knew all the time and didn't tell her. Seeing that Sakura was now available to hear what happened, Tsunade turned to explain the whole chain of events to Sakura, who turned to see the Hokage. "Sakura, a couple days ago, Sasuke dropped a challenge note to Naruto. He in turn showed it to Kakashi, before showing it to me. I sent him, Kakashi and Yamato to bring him back. Naruto, in the end, was able to beat Sasuke and brought him to Konoha. Now, he's going to face trial for the crimes against Konoha," said Tsunade, before seeing Sakura snarling her teeth in clear angry. She was possessed right now and she was blaming everyone from keeping this information from her. She wasn't insane enough to blame Naruto for this, since they haven't spoken in weeks, but Kakashi, Tsunade and Shizune were around to talk to her anytime they wished. It didn't take an expert to see what Sakura thinking was about, so he chose the silent moment to explain further. "Sakura, if you're wondering why no one told you about Sasuke, hear me out for a second. The reason why no one told you was because the mission's success was considered high secret by Tsunade-sama from fear of drawing unwanted attention, as well as deal with him before words reached wrong ears. I believe I speak for the Hokage when I say that once everything was taken care of, everyone would know about what happened soon enough," explained Kakashi, before watching Sakura presumably relax a bit. She did relax, but there was one next thing that was bothering her, and that was how Naruto was able to beat Sasuke when the first time, he couldn't even land a finger on Sasuke. Upon voicing it with a smooth tone, Kakashi answered. "Naruto grew stronger than ever since he returned from that mission, Sakura. Sasuke, though, underestimated Naruto's abilities and that cost him dearly," explained Kakashi, to which Sakura nodded and turned to Tsunade. "What will happen to him now, Tsunade-sama?" asked Sakura, to which Tsunade sighed and explained that Sasuke was a missing and as such, he would receive the penalty of losing his status as shinobi. However, since he supplied some information, his punishment wouldn't be that severe, but he would receive a penalty nonetheless. Looking down in shame, Sakura once again felt like she was useless. Ever since Sasuke left, she trained for hours on end, never worrying about either collapsing from chakra depletion or even loss of stamina. The reason to all her training was so that when the time came, she would be the one to bring Sasuke back home. Now, however, since Naruto was able to bring him back, she couldn't help but feel that all that training was wasted. She asked permission to not see this and began walking away from the place. She needed space, she needed time to think about the course of events. Once outside on Anbu HQ, she chose to walk around looking straight at the ground. She remembered the first time Konoha tried to bring back Sasuke and how much of a failure it was. She, of course, blamed Naruto for the entire thing at the time, but in reality, she wasn't able to do much either, not to mention the fact that Naruto was almost depleted from chakra at the time, because of overusage of Kyuubi's chakra. Now that he managed to defeat him and bring him back, Sakura couldn't say she was in gratitude with the blonde for doing this. Suddenly, memories of their entire career as ninjas came flooding her mind and now tears fell freely. Why she was crying, she didn't know. Maybe, could be her body taking control and doing the crying for her, or maybe, the fact that even with Sasuke back, her feeling of loneliness didn't diminish. After walking for a while, her head inclined for a fraction of a second, but it was enough for her eyes to see the only person who could understand all of this. Said person, for instance, saw Sakura in front of him and stopped. There was time yet for his exam, since he was calmly walking towards the designated place. Naruto imagined bumping into a lot of people that he knew, however he didn't think he would get to see Sakura of all people. Also seeing the clear sign of tears falling from her eyes, it was clear that she knew what happened. "Hello," Naruto greeted Sakura, to which Naruto greeted her back, and then, silence. Sakura was afraid of talking about Sasuke and Naruto didn't have anything to talk about. After a while, Sakura managed the courage to ask. "Naruto, when you fought Sasuke, did he say anything to you?" asked Sakura before eyeing Naruto, who in turn never took his eyes away from her. Naruto, for his part, tried remembering his somewhat brief conversation with Sasuke, but he couldn't remember anything different than some taunts to his abilities. He just wanted to fight me, since all that came out of his mouth were cheap taunting. Other than that, I don't recollect hearing anything different. Also, if by now you know about it, it means that his trial is about to begin, said Naruto, to which Sakura nodded and returned to looking down once more. Her single shred of hope of still being inside Sasuke's mind was now non-existent. She appreciated Naruto for telling her and then began walking once again, leaving Naruto alone to walk towards his Jounin exams. Sakura stopped walking for a while and looked at Naruto's back, wondering about the fact that Naruto, instead of comforting her, just answered her question and walked away. I guess I was stupid to believe he would care. With Naruto calmly walking towards the destination, Naruto spotted Asuma, Guy and Neji calling to him near a Dengo stand. Upon approaching and sitting for a while at the Jounin table, Guy began screaming about flames of youth and the arrival of one more Jounin to their ranks. Naruto smiled, but said that he was still due to pass the exam, meaning there was a possibility he would remain a Chunin for a while. He mentioned that the ninjutsu part was presumably easy to pass, but his tension was related to the Kenjutsu fight and his opponent for the exams. All of them knew about Yuagao's proficiency with the sword and advised Naruto not to lower his guard down. Asuma heard from Kakashi that Naruto happens to also channel Fuuten chakra to his weapons and decided to see him performing. "Naruto, would you please channel wind chakra through your sword for me? I want to see your level and perhaps I could give some pointers to strengthen the metal a bit more," said Asuma, to which Naruto complied and took his sword, before channeling Fuuten chakra through the blade. Instantly, the blue aura around the blade began and Asuma acknowledged the blonde's proficiency in it, even if it wasn't as strong as his knives. Good, you're on the right way, Naruto. The metal will become stronger as you grow. However, I would advise you to practice more often. The secret is to upgrade your chakra control so that you can be able to channel pure Fuuten chakra, eliminating the small percentage of normal chakra you happen to be using right now. I can see, though, the sword's metal is top-notch, so you won't have to worry about the sword breaking anytime soon, explained Asuma, to which Naruto nodded and stopped the flow of chakra before returning the sword to its holster. Thanks, Azuma Sensei. Well, I must be going or else people will think Kakashi Sensei's tardiness passed on to me. See ya, said Naruto before hearing Asuma chuckle, Guy screaming about his rival and Neji giving his usual ha in reply. As he walked, though, he encountered Shikamaru and was surprised to see he was going to perform the Jounin exams as well. Although, seeing that Shikamaru's ninjutsu was based on shadow manipulation, his test would include a written test and genjutsu evasion. It is troublesome as hell. Azuma Sensei applied my name for this exams and my mother practically beat me up saying that I was to show up, or else. I don't want to think what she would do to me if I missed the exam, so here I am, sighed Shikamaru, before seeing Naruto smiling at him and the conversation began once again. So what's your test going to be? Asked Shikamaru, to which Naruto explained that it would involve an all-ninjutsu battle and then a Kenjutsu one against one of Konoha's top sword user, to which Shikamaru nodded. I have to admit, though, Naruto, You managed to upgrade quite fast the ranks to be applying for the Jounin exam so soon after becoming Chunin, said Shikamaru before turning to see Naruto smiling. I guess I'm not the only one who thinks about this, then. Personally, I don't think I have what it takes to be a Jounin. Tsunade-sama and Kakashi Sensei all considered me to be Jounin material, hence why I'm here right now. This Yuagao person is rumored to be the best in Konoha and she has 10 times the experience than I have, stated Naruto, to which Shikamaru eyed him for a while and was about to retort, but found to be too troublesome to ever figure the blonde out. You can be such a mystery sometimes, Naruto, said Shikamaru, to which Naruto smiled and responded. I'll take that as a compliment, Shikamaru. Well, we're here. Good luck on your exams. Or not. Seeing that you don't wish to pass, I wouldn't know if you'd be thrilled once you pass. Well, good luck anyway, said Naruto before turning and walking straight to his field, when Kurenai appeared to talk to Shikamaru. Good afternoon, Shikamaru. Huh, what are you looking at? Asked Kurenai before she turned to see the blonde walking casually with his hands on pocket. Just when I'm about to figure that guy out, he comes and shoot all my expectations to the ground, so troublesome, mumbled Shikamaru, earning a chuckle from Kurenai, who in turn, heard this all too often. Naruto is the most unpredictable person I've ever met, so don't feel bad about not being able to understand his thinking. Now, your Jounin exam is underway, shall we? Said Kurenai before seeing Shikamaru mumble something about troublesome blonde and walked inside, once again earning some giggling from Kurenai. Back with Naruto, he remained walking until he saw one familiar face and 2 Anbu members waiting with him. One had long purple hair, so he figured that cat-masked Anbu was Yugao, however the one with the lion mask was unfamiliar. He wondered why no one would be there to see him, but quickly shrugged it off since both Tsunade and Kakashi were with Sasuke. However, he thought that Anko would be there to see him. The 3 ninjas spotted Naruto coming and Yamato greeted him. I was beginning to wonder if Kakashi-senpai's lateness rubbed off on you, Naruto. You're just in time, let's begin. First of all, the Hokage asked me to tell you that Anko was in a top-secret mission and won't be able to attend your exams. Now Tsunade-sama elected us 3 to test your abilities and gauge about your promotion to Jounin rank. Since you chose Doden and Fuuden as element manipulation, you'll be fighting each one of us in one designated area. I'll be your adversary regarding Doden Ninjutsu, the one with the lion mask codename Kaze, Wind, will test you regarding Fuuden Ninjutsu, and last of all, the one with the cat mask codename Ken, Sword, will test your Kenjutsu abilities, explained Yamato, to which Naruto nodded and asked what was he supposed to do to attain the rank of Jounin. Since there is 3 of us, we decided to do this by 3 phases. For you to pass to the next phase and so on, you'll have to keep up with us for as long as we wish. This test is also to test your chakra capacity and stamina to keep up with all 3 of us. I'll be your opponent for the first phase. And my test is to see you use both offensive and defensive Doden and Jutsu. Obviously, I'll mix some surprises here and there, so pay attention to your surroundings, said Yamato before the Anbu members backed away a bit, since the ground would shake a little bit. With Anko washing her face a little bit, Anko wondered how Naruto's exam was going to be. She didn't want to leave him alone, but removing the cursed seal to her was top priority right now. Her relationship with Naruto evolved up to the point of Orochimaru's curse now being even more unbearable than it already was. Therefore, she needed it removed right away. Sadly, though, the only one capable of such a thing was nowhere to be found, and her mission was to find him. Anko cursed the fact that she would have to find that pervert, since she lost count on how many times the man spied on her and a few others in Konoha. Not to mention the times when he spied on her and Naruto together. Being a seal master, Jiraiya could find a way to cancel the seal's effects other than simply restraining it. However, the man was nowhere to be seen. She used her tracking ability to the maximum, but it has been 3 days since she left Konoha and still no sign of the damn pervert. She feared that the man wasn't located in Fire Country, thus resulting in her having to go back to Konoha. Suddenly, though, an idea came to her. Anko remembered her boyfriend telling that while in their travels, usually Jiraiya would visit all the bathhouses in Fire Country, which meant that in order to find the pervert, Anko had to find the bathhouses. Anbu HQ now facing nothing but the mirror, Sasuke was hearing Tsunade enumerating his crimes against Konoha, before initiating the trial. Sasuke Uchiha, since this is a trial, you're entitled to state your defense at the accusations. You'll have a couple of minutes to start and please be brief, said Tsunade, to which Sasuke nodded and closed his eyes, before speaking. I have nothing to say, Tsunade. My goal was simple, get stronger in order to kill my brother once and for all. Orochimaru supplied me with said strength and, although it pains me to admit, I underestimated Naruto in our fight, because I didn't think he could attain such a level. Also, since I gave some info on Orochimaru, my penalty would be reduced. I do not regret my actions and know that I will do whatever it takes in exchange for power, said Sasuke. Kakashi couldn't say he was disgusted or unsurprised right now. He knew about Sasuke's drive to overcome his brother, but he also was foolish enough to believe in what his brother said to him. Sasuke, before you hear your penalty, tell me why you wanted to fight Naruto? Asked Kakashi, to which Tsunade questioned him about the relevance of this issue, before Sasuke laughed a little bit and answered. Orochimaru sent me here to kill him. However, there was another reason, and I'm sure you already know what it is. I never had any type of emotional bonding while in Konoha, but I can say that Naruto was the one who were the closest to me. The legend of the Meijin Kaiya Sharingan states that in order to attain such level, one has to kill his or her best friend. I could choose not to come, but I came here in hopes of killing him and attaining the next phase of the Sharingan, explained Sasuke, to which Kakashi nodded and then turned to Tsunade for her to give his judgment. Very well, Sasuke Uchiha, as of this moment, you'll be suspended from ninja duty and will be on house arrest for the period of 2 years. Also, restriction seals and tracking seals will be added to your body, thus disabling your access to chakra as well as being able to bind you to Konoha should you try to escape once again. My initial judgment would be removing you from ninja duty forever, with the possibility of execution based on your missing nin rank. However, since you supplied information from Konoha's enemy number 1, your penalty will be reduced. If by the end of the 2 years, you still vows for revenge and leave, I'll have no choice but to set you to execution, stated Tsunade, before authorizing Ibiki to initiate the sealing ritual. Seconds after, all that could be heard in the room were screams as Sasuke's chakra was being concealed. With Naruto was standing face to face with Yamato, and neither of them moved for quite a while, which meant that either Yamato was testing his patience or he was waiting for Naruto to strike. Seeing that the fight initiated a while back, Naruto moved his hands for hand seals in lightning speed and slammed his hands on the ground. Doden Genjutsu, Earth Release, Earth Spikes Jutsu. Instantly, the place where Yamato was appeared a number of earth spikes charging against Yamato, who in turn, did a backflip, while making hand seals, before saying Doden Doryudan no Jutsu, Earth Release, Mud Dragon Projectile Jutsu. Immediately, a dragon emerged from the ground and spilled a number of mud projectiles, but Naruto was already making hand seals by the time the dragon appeared and spilled some mud from his mouth for Doden Doryuki, Earth Release, Earth Barrier Jutsu, which in turn grew to become a protective wall, thus blocking the projectiles. Yamato knew Naruto would do that and quickly summoned one Moku Bunshin and then had him henge as a tree to catch Naruto off guard. However, just as soon as he finished the clone, he sensed some chakra being molded and looked up to see Naruto on top of the wall, making hand seals before slamming his hands on the barrier. Doden Amarin, Earth Release, Rain of Spears Jutsu. Suddenly, numerous spikes appeared from the earth barrier and shot towards Yamato, who in turn went underground and avoided the projectiles. Suddenly, Naruto jumped towards the ground while making hand seals for his creation. Upon slamming his hands on the ground for Doden Supaiku Ouchi, Earth Release, Spiked Pit Jutsu, the ground shaked a little before a big hole was created with spikes all over it, and Yamato was caught by surprise and used his hands to grab one of the spikes from falling. Wow, Naruto is very good with Doden Ninjutsu. Now to my little trap, let's see if you figure it out, Naruto. Thought Yamato as he smiled before letting go of the spike and fell to his doom, surprising Naruto for a moment there, before he saw wood debris flying after Yamato fell, which meant that he was a Bunshin. Immediately, the once tree dispelled the henge and made some hand seals for Doden Iwayato Kuzushi, Earth Release, Stone Lodging Destruction Jutsu, catching Naruto off guard, who in turn began the hand seals sequence and only hoped the wall would rise in time. Doden Tetsuheki no Jutsu, Earth Release, Iron Barrier Jutsu. Just as the first stone appeared near Naruto, the iron wall took shape, stopping the stones. Yamato wondered why this wall was different when he approached and examined it. Upon touching, the feeling was different and he felt the same as rubbing his hand on metal instead of earth. However, before he could analyze the technique further, he heard Naruto scream Doden Urase Yasha, Earth Release, Rock Catapult Jutsu, and immediately, the rocks that Yamato threw at him now was used by Naruto, giving the man no option but to dodge all the incoming rocks. Yamato knew that he couldn't dodge forever, since he was vulnerable for another attack, but the succession of the attacks were coming too fast for him to change his strategy, so he could only dodge. Suddenly, though, he witnessed the wall coming down and Naruto making hand seals for Doden Diodoho, Earth Release, Mud Cannon Jutsu, before Naruto exhaled a mud ball from his mouth and came flying straight towards him just as two other stones attacked him as well, giving him no choice but to revert to wood jutsu. Makuten Moku Shuheki, wood release, wood barrier jutsu, thus defending himself from the incoming projectiles. Naruto knew the rules of combat and saw the Makuten being used, so he stopped and waited for Yamato to get out of his barrier before approaching him. Once the barrier was gone, Naruto could see that Yamato was panting for air, while he instead wasn't even winded. "Alright Naruto, you managed to pass the first test. I do wonder about the different wall technique you used. I know it's Doden, but it was different isn't it?" asked Yamato, to which Naruto nodded and explained about his initiation to iron manipulation. After hearing the explanation, Yamato's eyes widened to impossible amounts at the possibility of attaining such level, and Naruto also explained that he was taught by Aoi how to manipulate iron. It was safe to say that Yamato would ask Aoi for some tips. "Okay, Naruto, 1 out of 3. Now, you'll face Kaze in Fuuten and Jutsu. For this test, he will be the one stating the rules to pass. Good luck," said Yamato before moving out of the way for Shi to take his place at the battlefield while Yamato rested alongside Yugao. "You are hurt, aren't you?" asked Yugao, to which Yamato nodded and smiled. "Yes I am, that last attack managed to hit my chest." "I've never heard about this mud cannon attack," stated Yamato, before he took a closer look on the next fight. Yugao for her part acknowledged Naruto's abilities and wondered about his Kenjutsu skills. Back to the fight, she began the talking. "Okay Naruto, you managed to impress us in Doden Ninjutsu, but now it's Fuuten's turn. As you know, Fuuten Ninjutsu can be divided in slicing, air pressure and wind-blowing techniques, both defensive and offensively speaking. Tell me from these three, which one you're able to perform?" asked Kaze, to which Naruto responded by saying that apart from air pressure, which by the way he was clueless about, he was able to perform slicing and wind-blowing techniques. Although the mask was on, Naruto could hear the man laughing. "That's all right. Air pressure is the most advanced form of manipulation regarding Fuuten and Jutsu, and its records are restricted to Jounin and above. Fuuten and Jutsu, especially slicing attacks, are very dangerous in a test like this, because you can't let the attack hit you. So, we'll restrict this type of techniques to target practice only. The basic slicing technique Fuuten Kaze no Yaiba, wind release, wind sword jutsu, is enough for the first exercise. You'll need precision for this. I'll be throwing shurikens to the air and will be up to you to cut as many as possible with this technique. After that, we'll battle using wind-blowing techniques," explained Kaze, to which Naruto nodded and prepared for the incoming shurikens. With Shikamaru looking at his test, Shikamaru was passing through every question with ease so far. He wasn't considered a brain genius for nothing, and Tsunade thought best to see how he would perform as a strategist in Jounin level missions. So far, though, Shikamaru encountered some challenging questions and even one that made him do his focus position in order to answer, but the majority of the questions were easy to solve. He wondered how Naruto's test was going, while looking to the window. Kurenai was the one selected to test Shikamaru for Jounin position and looked at him while he was goofing off instead of finishing the test. Even though there is still time to finish Shikamaru, it wouldn't be a good idea to be goofing off, said Kurenai as she smiled at her boyfriend's favorite student before looking out the window and seeing a number of shurikens flying before seeing all of them being cut in half, in what assumed to be Fuuten and Jutsu. "Well, it looks that Naruto's test has begun," observed Kurenai, to which Shikamaru nodded. "The tremors we sent a while ago were also part of his test. I heard from Iruka Sensei that Naruto would be using both Doden and Fuuten Ninjutsu to pass the exams, so it started a while ago," said Shikamaru, to which Kurenai nodded and told him to look at his test and finish it already, earning mumbles from the Nara air. With Naruto 17 out of 20, a good mark right there. Now we'll battle using only wind-blowing techniques. The one who sent the other flying first wins. For you to win this, you have to either faster in hand seals or perform a stronger technique than mine. Get ready, ordered Kaze, to which Naruto nodded and smiled at the cunning challenge before him. It went without saying that she was a master in Fuuten and Jutsu, so the man must have some very good techniques that he could learn in the future, not to mention being introduced to air pressure manipulation in the future. Immediately making hand seals, Naruto exhaled the most basic wind technique Fuuten Daitappa, wind release, great breakthrough jutsu. However, upon seeing Kaze turn and face the other way, Naruto wondered what he was doing. Surprisingly, the air passed by him and he didn't even move. Why did he turn around? Thought Naruto, before he heard Shi talking. Using this level of technique won't be enough to take me off the ground, you'll have to do better than that. Now is my turn, said Kaze as he made some hand seals for a technique of his own. Fuuten no Hagshi, Wind Release, Furious Tempest Jutsu. Widening his eyes to impossible proportions, Naruto channeled chakra to the ground as much as he could so as to stick to it and don't fly. The technique's strength was tremendous and he thought he would lose the match. As the technique ended, Naruto sighed in relief and began making some hand seals for Fuuten no Tatsumaki, Wind Release, Tornado Tunnel Jutsu. Immediately, a horizontal tornado charged Kaze, who in turn, used chakra to evade the attack just as the tip of the hurricane appeared in front of him, before making hand seals. Fuuten Repusho, Wind Release, Gale Wind Palm, shouted Kaze before sending a canalized gust of wind towards Naruto, who also dodged the attack. However, Kaze didn't stop as he made hand seals once again, this time for a stronger version of Naruto's first technique called Fuuten Yasetappa, Wind Release, Wild Breakthrough Jutsu. What Naruto saw, however, wasn't anywhere near the original one. This technique was wider and stronger than the original. Snarling in frustration at being such a novice, Naruto made some hand seals for a defensive Fuuten Ninjutsu called Fuuten Shuheki no Jutsu, Wind Release, Wind Barrier Jutsu, creating a hurricane around him so that the opponent's attack would pass through him, thus protecting him from harm. However, even before dispelling the barrier, Naruto saw Kaze moving his hands in a familiar way and knew he wouldn't be able to keep up this time, since his opponent performed the Fuuten Arashi no Hagshi once again. Using as much chakras as he could, this time in order to stick his feet on the ground, Naruto was feeling the wind practically ravishing his entire body. The strength of the technique was unbearable to keep up and he would soon lose control over his chakra and his feet would no longer stick to the ground. Fortunately, though, Kaze stopped the technique so as to conserve some chakra for later, allowing Naruto to rest for a little bit. I have to say, though, Naruto, your primary affinity is wind, however I feel you barely scratched the surface of the real power of Fuuten and Jutsu. I must say I overestimated you a bit. You need to train more if you wish to become stronger, said Kaze while Naruto got up, before looking at his opponent. You overestimated me, Kaze-senpai. Almost everyone underestimated me, none of them ever believed I would be standing before you for the position of Jounin, and now I get to see someone thinking highly of my skills. I can see your techniques are much stronger than mine are and the force of your wind makes me look weak in comparison. However, there is one technique I have, but this would be the first time using it. I bear to think of it as an S-ranked ninjutsu, but I guess you got to be the judge, said Naruto before being surrounded by blue chakra. This is my ultimate Fuuten technique and I'm very proud of its creation, stated Naruto before closing his eyes in pure concentration. Immediately, the image was black and only Naruto could be visible in the middle as if focusing through his inner self in order to find the strength he needed for this technique. After that, he began in slow motion, a large sequence of hand seals. Although his hands were moving slowly, shadows of its movements could be seen around it as Naruto went to the hand seals necessary. This technique was his trademark, one he was able to create after the fight with Sasuke. Actually, he was able to create moments after Team Guy found him meditating on top of the river. Continuing on with the hand seals, the necessary chakra was being molded and Naruto could feel his chakra being gathered at the designated tenketsus that in turn, would be the ones responsible for the success of the technique. When he opened eyes, just as the last hand seal was made, Naruto screamed Fuuten Kamikaze, Wind Release, Divine Wind Jutsu. Instantly, an immense hurricane with widened proportions formed around Naruto, who in turn was focusing on a single hand seal. Channeling more chakra and enough rotation speed for the hurricane to be yanking thick trees of the ground, Naruto sent the immense hurricane after Kaze, who could only watch as the hurricane overcome his entire view of things, thus giving him no other option but to take the attack head-on and sent flying. Yamato and Uegao had to cover their faces with their arms from the sheer force of the hurricane until they saw she flying. Immediately making hand seals, Yamato made a tree log and managed to grab Kaze before he would leave Konoha from the air. When he looked at the training ground, he was surprised to see that Naruto managed to yank every one of the trees. Looking at Naruto, he was on the ground panting from clear overusage of chakra. A while later Kaze awakened and looked at this strange chunin in front of him. The Anbu soldier heard of a couple of chakra powerhouses which consisted of shinobi with high chakra capacity, but Naruto was totally different if this new technique was anything to go by. Upon approaching and helping the blonde up to his feet, Kaze applauded him and confessed his amazement at the technique. You passed my test, Naruto, congratulations. You managed to cut more than 2/3 of the shuriken using wind manipulation and managed to send me flying with your supreme technique. The sheer wind managed to damage my skin a bit and that speaks highly of its force. Now, since you passed my test, you completed the ninjutsu part of the exam. The last one will be Ken's test. Good luck, said Kaze before seeing Naruto smile and nod, before asking for a chakra pill. Yamato wondered about this, but then again, Naruto would no longer use ninjutsu and he needed at least a little bit of chakra to move his body against Yuagao. Taking a while to gather his strength, Naruto was watching intently as Yuagao took off her sword and observed it for a while. Sensei once told him that a sword user's ability is measured by how much the user cares for the sword. The weapon will only be dangerous once it merges with the ninja sort of way. Once the weapon becomes a part of the ninja, he or she would be a force to be recognized. Naruto assumed that Yuagao had a very strong bond with her sword, simply because even with the mask on, he could see her eyes focusing on the blade, while using her hand to feel its material. She will be a worthy adversary, thought Naruto as he got up and took his sword. Yuagao for her part looked at her opponent getting up and focused on position to battle. Naruto also assumed a position and stood there just watching and studying Yuagao's movements. This was a true samurai fight as both sword users just stood there for a while, observing each other. Tashi and Yamato, they were eagerly watching the opponent's concentration. Neither of them wanted to attack first since the one who did would be open for a counterattack and that was something none of them wished to happen. However, one would have to attack, or else it would be a stalemate. While focusing on Yuagao, Naruto remembered Kakashi saying that Yuagao lost her beloved Hayate at the Sand Sound invasion and how sad she was for a while. He also remembered Kakashi saying that after the sadness, Yuagao closed her heart and just focused her mind on missions and training. So, I guess she wouldn't mind if I used that jutsu on her, would she? Thought Naruto as he finally charged Yuagao. Just when he was about mid-distance to Yuagao, Naruto jumped to the air and suddenly two Narutos divided and each went to a separate way, making Yuagao go wide-eyed upon seeing this jutsu again after so long. Hayate. Looking up, she saw Naruto descending on her with his sword ready. Moving quickly, she placed her sword in defensive and pumped a little bit of chakra to her feet to smooth the impact a bit. When the swords clashed, Yuagao's elbow bended a little bit from the obviously superior strength, but managed to stop the attack. Tell me right now, how taught you this attack? Who taught you? Screamed Yuagao in a menacing way, to which Naruto smiled and gave Rikimaru's name to her. Kakashi Sensei has a friend in Anbukor called Rikimaru, he was the one who taught it to me. I use this technique not only to initiate the fight, but to see whether or not you would remember Hayate-senpai, said Naruto before he pushed Yuagao with his sword only for her to use the momentum and twist her body before swinging her sword yet again, aiming to strike Naruto on the side. Seeing the attack, Naruto moved his sword and protected with ease, before he pushed Yuagao's sword and positioned the sword down, before swinging it up, doing a vertical assault to which Yuagao backflipped, thus avoiding the attack. It wasn't long until she attacked and Naruto defended. Now, both of them were holding their swords against one another locked in a stalemate. Did you get to meet Hayate-kun, Naruto? Asked Yuagao while the swords were clashing in the middle of the fight. Naruto nodded in negative. Unfortunately, I didn't. Hayate was the proctor of my first Chunin exams. I actually met his nephew Gekko Tonari. I can tell that Hayate's spirit rests within him since Tonari is a strong and capable ninja. Actually, he and I became Chunins just a year ago, said Naruto, before both opponents did a backflip and positioned one more time one in front of the other, while studying the next attack. After his death, I swore revenge for a while. However, the path of revenge is never pleasant. Some of the people that stood by me once told me that Hayate's spirit wouldn't be able to rest and I took the path of an avenger and attacked the one who killed him. However, I long since blocked everything and just focused on the mission and training. Only after you attacked me with my fiance's favorite attack, did I wake up. I thank you, Naruto, for what you did, however that doesn't mean I'll go easy on you, so be prepared, stated Yuagao before removing her mask and revealing Yuagao's face. Naruto for his part nodded. I wouldn't want it any other way, Yuagao-senpai, said Naruto, before both ninjas clashed their swords into another stalemate, before flipping backwards and exchanging a series of swing attacks with one another. Naruto was using Fuuten Ninjutsu to match Yuagao's speed, but that wasn't enough. Yuagao was faster and lighter than he was, so by using Fuuten Chakra, he was able to dodge and attack Yuagao. While watching, she told Yamato about what Naruto was doing. Are you sure? Asked Yamato, to which she nodded. Positive. Naruto is using Fuuten Chakra to control his body's movements. By expelling chakra from a certain tenketsu, Naruto can practically dodge the attacks, without needing to use his legs or propelling his body. I have to say this Naruto is quite creative using Fuuten like this, explained Kaze, to which Yamato nodded and turned to look at the impressive showdown before him. After a while, Both opponents were at stalemate. No matter which attack one used, the other would block, thus the only sound that could be heard was the sound of swords clashing. Just after the last stalemate, Yugao backflipped long back and focused chakra to her attack. She positioned her sword down to her right side and focused chakra to her legs to give the propel she needed. Once done, she exhaled all the chakra and dashed towards Naruto with impressive speed. Naruto knew that if the attack hit, it would be end for him, so focusing on Yugao's attack point, Naruto charged his sword with Futon chakra and just waited for the impact. When it happened, a bright light obfuscated Yamato and Kaze's eyes. When they looked again, they saw what appeared to be another stalemate. However, Yugao's arm showed a cut made of wind technique, which came as a surprise to both. Truth was that when Yugao's sword hit Naruto's, he focused too much Futon chakra, which in time created an extension for the sword, thus making a cut in Yugao's arm. You won, Naruto. I forgot to tell you what you needed to do for this test, but you managed to draw the first blood, so you won, said Yugao, to which Naruto looked at her for a while, before seeing she get up and smile at him. I also would like to thank you, Naruto, smiled Yugao, but Naruto was clueless. Thank me for what? I didn't do anything, stated Naruto, to which Yugao nodded. By using Hayate-kun's technique, you managed to save me for the eternal grief of his passing. I'd like to ask you a favor, though. Because of Hayate's passing, I don't have someone who can keep up with me in a fight, so I was wondering if you could be my sparring partner so that my skills don't rust, asked Yugao, earning a nod from Naruto, who in turn, explained about his sparring partner, telling that she could tag along with them, earning a smile from Yugao, before Yamato came and addressed to Naruto. Congratulations, Naruto. You managed to pass all 3 of the phases, and for that we congratulate you. Our report will be sent to Tsunade-sama, who will in turn address to you regarding your promotion. I won't say you are now a Jounin, since our report is only a part of the actual test. The Hokage will take into consideration all your career and see if you deserve the promotion. I have to say, though, your skills increased tenfold and I've never been so thrilled to be wrong, stated Yamato, to which Naruto smiled and nodded. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.